County. He's been a friend and a mentor to me, and thank you very much for coming over. During the last few days, I have grappled with a very difficult decision, the choice between the work of two offices that are each critically important to the future of Ohio. Today, I'm here to announce my decision. I will run for the Republican nomination to be Auditor of State. One day, a few years ago, I sat across the conference table from two detectives from Columbus Division of Police. Between us were 7 3-inch binders full of financial records and payroll records and other documents that implicated what happened to be a Republican office holder in a crime. It was a difficult case, based on circumstantial evidence and numbers, as white-collar crimes so often are. I've been called in there as a special prosecutor. Over the next several months, we followed the evidence and ultimately convicted that politician of a felony. 5 times it has been my duty to prosecute political corruption in Ohio, a cancer that knows no political affiliation and hides in the darkness. Having served as both county prosecutor and county auditor, I have learned how to find it and how to root it out. My intention had been to continue this mission through the Office of the Ohio Attorney General. But about 10 days ago, Auditor of State Mary Taylor announced that she would run for Lieutenant Governor as the running mate of John Kasich. That left our ticket without a viable candidate for this office, the very heart of an accountable and open government. Business, political, and grassroots leaders across this great state have called on me during the last few days, urging me to put aside my personal plans and fill the gap in our party's ticket, to step up and bring my skills and passion for public integrity to do this most important work. After much prayer and reflection and taking of counsel, my path seems clear, although not easy. I will run for Auditor of State because it's the right thing for Ohio. Mary Taylor has created a legacy of excellence as Auditor of State. She's built a firm foundation upon which more can be built. She's had the courage to call out the governor and his administration for their mushy financial record keeping. So will I. As a prosecutor and former county auditor, I have done my duty without regard to friendship or political affiliation. I will continue to do so as your Auditor of State. To the people of this great state, I pledge to you that every tax dollar sent to Columbus will be spent for a public purpose and according to law. And I shall take decisive action whenever I find that it is not. Together we can make Ohio an open book, a book that is easily read and true. Well, there are a lot of people that are very passionate about this election cycle for good reason. Our state and our country are poised on the edge of a knife, and this will be the most consequential election of my lifetime at both the state and national level. There are many people that feel that the criminal justice issues that need to be addressed and the limitation of government under the Constitution would be best addressed through the Attorney General's office, and they urged me to stay in that race. And as I mentioned, it was a difficult choice. At the end of the day, I felt that I could best serve the conservative principles for which I fought in this race.
One of the things, you've been backed by the Tea Party so far, and they're also backing Seth Morgan, a lot of them. How are you going to rectify that in the coming weeks and months?
Well, I've been very open. I spent a good deal of time this weekend not just talking to folks in the business community and the party, but also talking to people in the 9/12 movement and the Tea Party. You know, it's a sign of the resurgence of conservative ideals that we actually have two candidates that are talking about a lot of the same things. I will continue to work with them. I actually posted on my blog and Facebook this weekend about the difficulty of this decision and the process I was going through. I think that kind of communication, no filters, you know, right out there in the first person is something that will mark politics in the future. And I think it's something that you're seeing is energizing the grassroots of the Tea Party movement. So I'm very hopeful to win their support.
I've read some of your postings though, and no offense, but it looks like a lot of them think you sold out.
Well, some of the comments did, and I respectfully disagree. At the end of the day, I have to make this decision about how I feel I can best help the conservative ideals that I fought for.
Mr. Yost, based on what you wrote Saturday, when one read that, I got the impression, particularly one sentence you put in there about the fact that you're not in this to make any political party happy. One could have taken from that maybe you were about to say that you're going to remain in the race for Attorney General. You obviously have made the party happy. Can you talk to us about, have you been guaranteed an endorsement for sure against Seth Morgan? Is there some kind of financial contribution that is coming? I mean, how happy have you made the party by getting into this race?
Well, I'll defer that to the party. I think any political party, I may not be interested in particularly making a Republican Party happy. I am interested in making the Democratic Party unhappy. The chairman asked me to do this. He felt I was the strongest candidate, and I was very humbled to be approached. He did tell me that he would ask the Central Committee to vote on whether to endorse me or not, and I have spent the weekend calling around and talking to folks, and I feel comfortable I will be able to win their support.
You, in the previous election, the Republican Party made a big deal about the current auditor's CPA. As it appears now, you would be running against a fellow Republican who has a CPA. Why would you be the better candidate, despite lacking that credential that was deemed so important the last time?
Well, you know, an important part of the auditor of state's office is to ensure that money is spent according to law. I don't think any single professional credential is the sine qua non of the office. I think that the fact that I have a Juris Doctor is very helpful in carrying out that side of the mission. At the end of the day, this is 800 people, and this office is about experience and leadership. I've spent a great deal of time doing many of the tasks directly that are involved in the auditor state, and I believe I'm best equipped to lead this large office with its many multidisciplinary professionals. As a lawyer, I'll be proud to work with the CPAs, accountants, and other professionals that are in the office.
When Mary Taylor held the office, one of the things she said is when the economic stimulus dollars were coming in from the federal government, she didn't necessarily like that idea of the federal government going in debt to put that stimulus money to the states. And she really didn't want any part of that being used to balance the budget because she thought it was irresponsible. We're probably looking at another situation where we know Governor Strickland is right now trying to shore up some federal dollars to come in the next year and a half because of a projected budget shortfall. What will be your stand on that? Will you be against that? Will you urge to get the money, or where will you go with that? Will you be different than Mary Taylor?
Well, I agree with Mary on this. And furthermore, those of you in the press corps, I want to encourage you to think this through. Ohio is prohibited by law from running a deficit. Now, what we have done here is we've simply gotten our agent, the federal government, to run the deficit for us during this current biennium, and we're balancing the budget with borrowed money. So we're doing what is illegal by having some other entity do it. That is wrong, and we're missing the point and the principle of the law.